Ever woken up, already losing? Eyes open, heart heavy, mind racing before your feet touch the floor. The world demands before you even arrive, and the moment slips just like that. No breath, no stillness, just reaction. You check the phone, you check the clock, but not once do you check yourself. And suddenly, the day is no longer yours. The Stoics knew, how you start is how you endure. And if the first moment belongs to chaos, the rest will follow. But if you reclaim it, quietly, sharply, without announcement, then no matter how loud it gets out there, you'll move from stillness, not survival. The morning isn't just another hour, it's a gate. And what walks through that gate sets the tone for everything. So pause, before the scroll, before the noise, before the world comes asking. Meet yourself first. Breathe once, stand up, and begin the day from power, because if you don't claim it, something else will. When the alarm hits, stand. No debate, no bargain. No comfort disguised as control. Because that moment, that first crack between sleep and action, is the first battle. And most people lose it before they even open their eyes. You said you'd rise, so rise. Not because it feels good, but because it means something. The Stoics didn't ask how they felt. They asked what was needed, and what's needed is movement. Forward, without mood, without music, without waiting for the world to give you permission. Every time you delay, you train your nervous system to expect softness where there should be edge. But when you move, on the first sound, on the first breath, on the first chance, you send a louder message: I am in command. Not the blanket, not the comfort, not the ghost of yesterday's weight. This is not just waking up, this is returning. The one who rises without delay, rises with purpose. When the alarm hits, stand. No debate, no bargain, no comfort disguised as control. Because that moment, that first crack between sleep and action, is the first battle. And most people lose it before they even open their eyes. You said you'd rise, so rise. Not because it feels good, but because it means something. The Stoics didn't ask how they felt. They asked what was needed, and what's needed is movement. Forward, without mood, without music, without waiting for the world to give you permission. Every time you delay, you train your nervous system to expect softness where there should be edge. But when you move, on the first sound, on the first breath, on the first chance, you send a louder message: I am in command. Not the blanket, not the comfort, not the ghost of yesterday's weight. This is not just waking up, this is returning. The one who rises without delay, rises with purpose. Wash your face, rinse the night off your body. Bring yourself back to presence. Not for hygiene, for clarity. Because how you treat your body in the first 10 minutes is how your mind will treat the rest of your day. The Stoics didn't begin with noise. They began with order. Cold water, bare skin, no mirror needed, just the feeling of coming back into form. You are not yesterday's mess. You are not last night's questions. You are this moment, clean, upright, awake. This is not grooming. This is ritual. This is reset. Before you touch the world, touch water. Let it remind your system, today has begun, and so have you. You don't need spa-level peace. You need a sink. You need your hands. And the decision to be aware again. Because nothing outside will ever feel clean if you start your day still carrying yesterday's dust. So breathe, rinse, stand still as the water hits your face. Not to refresh, to remember. You begin again, now, before the world takes a sip from you. Let your body sip from stillness. One glass, warm, quiet, intentional. No caffeine, no chaos. Just water, the kind that doesn't scream but restores. The Stoics understood how you begin is how you sustain, and the body, before it lifts, speaks, works, runs, needs to flow. This isn't about health trends, it's about connection. You've been still all night. Now you ask your system to move, to decide, to act, to face the day. So start where movement begins, inside. Let it travel down your throat like a message to every cell. I'm here. I'm ready. I care. No sugar, no rush, just liquid discipline. Because most people seek sharpness through noise, you'll seek it through calm. You don't need more energy, You need a clean channel for the strength you already have. And warm water is the quiet bridge from sleep to strength. So drink, not to fill yourself, but to return to what moves you. Don't wait to feel ready. Move. Before thought, before doubt, before your mind starts listing reasons to stay soft. The Stoics trained the body because they knew a weak vessel can't carry a sharp mind. This isn't about fitness. It's about signaling to yourself, to the day, to the resistance waiting just outside your front door. You don't need a full routine. You need momentum. Even 3 minutes, even one push-up, even a walk through still air with your spine upright and your jaw unclenched. Because motion is a decision. Not to be faster, but to be alive. The body stores silence, it stores fear, it stores stories you never finished. And when you move, you release them. Without talking, without forcing, just breath, just movement. Just you proving to yourself that you're not trapped, you're awake, you're here. And today, you don't just exist, you advance. If you start the day with other people's noise, you'll spend it searching for your own voice. Before the sun rises, before your breath finds rhythm, don't touch the feed. Don't scroll, don't swipe, don't react before you've even arrived. The Stoics didn't wake to opinions, they woke to themselves. Because clarity doesn't come from input, it comes from empty space. And every time you open your phone before you open your mind, you outsource your peace to strangers. What they think, what they sell, what they need from you before you've decided what you need. Guard the beginning. It's sacred. No pings, no headlines, no chasing updates that will mean nothing by noon. Instead, stay in silence. Look at the window, not the screen. Feel your pulse, not the timeline. Because the first thing you consume sets your tone, sets your depth, sets your resistance to the storm. You don't need to know what's happening. You need to know where you stand before it starts, before the day demands your voice. Give yourself back to silence. No music, no words, no narration trying to tell you who you are, just quiet, heavy, honest. The Stoics didn't start by speaking, they started by listening. To the part of them that doesn't shout, because there's a clarity that only shows up when everything else sits down. You've been asleep all night, but your soul, it's been holding stories you didn't finish. And now it asks, can we sit for a moment before the armor goes on? You don't need more information. You need interval. Sit, feel your spine, feel your weight. Feel what's there when nothing tries to fill it. The silence won't be comfortable, but it will be true. And if you can stay there, even for a minute, you'll walk into the noise with something they don't have. A center, a signal, a stillness that doesn't need to prove itself. This is not emptiness. This is where the edge lives. Don't just ask what you need to do today. Ask who you need to be. Before the tasks, before the meetings, before the pressure kicks in, pause. The Stoics began with reflection. Not to feel good, but to be clear. They asked, where am I likely to slip? What emotion will try to rule me? What kind of man do I want to be when resistance shows up? Because if you don't set your stance, the world will set it for you. So grab a pen or close your eyes and ask the question you've been avoiding. What does this day require of me? Not what do I want, not what do I fear, but what kind of strength does this life need from me today? You don't need a plan. You need a posture, and one moment of real reflection is stronger than 10 hours of motion with no anchor. So, reflect. Not to change the world, but to make sure you don't lose yourself in it. Don't dress to be seen, dress to stay grounded. You're not trying to impress, you're not chasing compliments. You're sending a signal to yourself that you showed up, that you respect the day ahead, that you won't meet life in sleepwear thinking you're ready for war. The Stoics weren't flashy. They were intentional. Simple, sharp, aligned. Every thread, a quiet decision. I'm here to hold my standard, not lower it to match the noise. You don't need luxury. You need purpose. And when you put something on, do it like someone who knows he might be tested. Because appearance isn't vanity, it's preparation. And a man who dresses with care moves with clarity. Don't eat to escape. Eat to equip. You're not feeding cravings, you're feeding direction. The Stoics didn't chase flavor, they chose function. Not to feel good, but to stay sharp. Not to indulge, but to prepare. Every bite is a message. I intend to hold myself together. And if the first thing you consume is chaos, you carry that chaos. But if it's clean, if it's chosen, if it's given to your body with awareness, then what enters doesn't just fuel you, it fortifies you. So eat with both hands still, with both eyes open, without the screen, without the scroll, without needing to fill the silence with sound. You don't need to feel full, you need to feel ready. Eat like a man who has things to do, who has a code to live by, who knows that clarity doesn't come from sugar, it comes from discipline. Because how you feed the body is how you teach the mind to behave. And the one who eats with intention doesn't fall apart when the day gets loud. Before you meet the world, meet yourself. No title, no task, no performance, just you. Raw, unfiltered, unmasked. The Stoics didn't begin with noise, they began with recognition, not of their schedule, but of their center. Because if you don't face yourself, quietly, honestly, completely, then you'll spend the rest of the day trying to find yourself in what others reflect back. So sit, breathe, let the world wait. Feel your feet, feel your frame, feel the part of you that doesn't shift when pressure comes. This is not self-care, this is strategy. Because the man who checks in with himself cannot be knocked out by someone else's version of him. You don't need affirmations, you need alignment. A simple question, am I walking in the direction I once said I would? If the answer is no, adjust. Not tomorrow, now. If the answer is yes, stand taller. You've met yourself, and you're still here. That's more than enough to start a war with peace in your chest. You don't need a perfect morning. You need a claimed one. One that wasn't handed to the algorithm. One that wasn't stolen by urgency. One that wasn't lived in reaction to yesterday's chaos. The Stoics didn't chase routine for control. They built it for clarity. So that when the world pulls, they don't drift. When people push, they don't fall. And when uncertainty strikes, they don't scramble. They return to breath, to rhythm, to what they already chose in the quiet hour before the storm. This is not self-help, this is self-command. And no, you won't do it perfectly. You'll forget, you'll oversleep, you'll skip steps. Some mornings will break you before they greet you. But one thing will always be true. The way you start is the way you stand. So even if the rest of the world loses its footing today, you won't, because your morning wasn't motivated, it was mastered.